Hello, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in once again. It is me, Drex, here with you all for some more content. I hope you all are having a wonderful day or wonderful night wherever you all are, and much love, And I'm thinking of naming this video Words for Words Deals and the Golden Sorrow and the so-called winners. You know, I like I like to write quite a bit of poetry, so I think that's a pretty poetic video title, and you know, when I use words for my poetry, you know, I tend to think that I'm very good at writing poems. I think my poems are beautiful, but in some ways I can understand what I'm writing about and I can understand the words, but maybe others don't. And I don't know if I'm the only poet on earth that does that. I'm probably not the only one. People need to express themselves, and I feel that the way I do my poetry, it's a way to express myself without really letting others know what exactly I'm writing about, and like I said, maybe others do the same. Maybe other people are like me and they do that, or maybe not. But in my opinion, my poetry is very beautiful. And when I use the words for words deals, you know, I kind of don't want to say exactly what I mean by that, but I will say that it has something to do with karma, if any of you all believe in that type of thing. So there's that. And the golden sorrow, well, there's kind of two meanings to it when I use those words, and I've kind of written about the golden sorrow quite a bit, but a lot of it, I'll tell you the meaning that isn't so controversial. The golden sorrow is when, yes, you're living your life, you're learning, you're losing and winning, you're living, right? But sometimes stuff gets taken away, or people are no longer with you, or stuff like that, and so that's the golden sorrow. And I think that I think that a lot of people, you know maybe people that have lost a loved one, maybe people that miss their ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, or maybe people that were married and are now divorced and now they live sad. They didn't want that person to go. They wanted to continue loving that person. So stuff like that. And like I said, there's kind of two meanings to it, but the less controversial of the golden sorrow is, like I tell you, it's basically life experiences that aren't too nice, that a lot of us have to deal with. And of course, nobody's life is perfect. People have learned hard lessons all around the world. So it really, a lot of people can relate, if you know what I mean, and and the so-called winners, I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. In a way, I'm kind of talking about myself, and it's kind of like, yeah, you won. You're still living your life, but what did you have to give up to get that win? Who did you have to ghost? Who did you have to be not so nice to? What did you have to do to get the win? So that's kind of what I mean with so-called winners, meaning, yes, we won, but you had to sacrifice something to win. It's not just, there's there's plenty of people out there that, yeah, they're winning, but you know, they had to do certain things to get that win. And a lot of it probably wasn't too nice. They probably had to spend time working on stuff away from their families, so their families are hurting. They probably had to spend time away from friends, so their friends miss them. So that's kind of what I mean with the so-called winners, meaning, yes, we won, but you had to give something up to win. It's not all just, yes, we're winners, but that doesn't mean that everything's perfect at the same time. So, yeah, that's kind of, like I say, I'm kind of poetic with it. I enjoy writing poetry. You know, if there's anybody out there that wants to make a name for themselves with poetry, I would advise that you get the app called Substack. It's a very cool app. If you're good at poetry and you post your poetry on there, you'll probably get quite a bit of views. The first day, because I had been trying some things with Twitter X and YouTube, and I was like, wow, I wasn't getting the views that I wanted. I wasn't getting the likes and all this type of thing. But then I got on that app Substack, and I think I got 100 views the first day that I started posting, and I probably posted like maybe 3 or 4 pieces of content. So yeah, just a little video, just a little interesting poetic video. And I love you all. Have a very good day, or very good afternoon, or very good night. And thank you for tuning in, and goodbye.